Hi, everybody. This is Patty Sliney, Handy Quilter National Educator, and we had a great question come up on one of our Facebook groups. And it was somebody who was having a hard time finding where she saved a workspace file. She had saved it, but she wasn't intentional or purposeful about where she saved it, so she couldn't remember or didn't know where Pro Stitcher saved it to. So I wanted to kind of walk you through best practices and some strategies for file management, naming conventions, how to find your flash drive, which would be your D or E drive on your tablet. So I'm going to walk you through some of those things. I think that might be really helpful. So we have this design here, and I want to show you about being intentional about saving something. We're going to talk a little bit about naming conventions too, which will be really helpful for people who are professional long armors or quilt for others or do charity quilts, quilts of valor, that sort of thing. So, and I'll talk about why you want to use a file naming convention and how that could be helpful for you. So I've got this design. Let's say I'm working on a customer's quilt and this is going to be part of their border, and I want to save this. So I've got it created and I'm done for the day, but I want to save it. I've baselined it. So I'm going to save it to a flash drive. Now I recommend, if you're quilting for others or even just for yourself, have a dedicated flash drive that you use just for either your quilts, or if you're a professional, get a flash drive that you can use for your business, and that's your flash drive, and it's your business flash drive. So we're going to kind of talk in that vein for right now. So I've got this, and I know this is just a design. There's not a workspace to save. If you have Pro Stitcher Premium, you do have that option to save a workspace. You do not have that option in Pro Stitcher Lite. You can only save the selected design. So if I had an area on here, it would show over here in my right sidebar workspace tab. Don't forget to use this tab. This is your friend. This tells you everything that's on your workspace. So if I had an area, I'd have an area line down here. I don't, but I'll show you that later in a workspace I am going to open. So we've just got it designed. I know it's selected two ways. First way is the design is black and not grayed out. So we will select it again, and let's undo that because I don't want to group that. So I'm just going to select it by either clicking on the design, or I can click here. There we go. It grouped it because it's actually three different designs. So I've got a center design here that I've already created, and it's called Center Design, and I'm happy with that name for right now. But I'm going to change it when I save it, and I'll show you why. So I have it selected, and I'm going to use File, Save, and I only need to use Selected, don't need to use Workspace because I don't have an area on here. I don't have multiple designs, just one design, so Save Selected is sufficient. So I'll click on that, and then Pro Stitcher is going to go wherever you were last. And this is common in software programs, and Pro Stitcher follows that same default pattern. This is where I was last. I was looking at something on my C drive designs folder. I don't want to save it here. So I'm going to go tell Pro Stitcher I want it to save to my flash drive. So where is my flash drive? Well, I'm looking at my hard drive right now on my laptop, and my D drive, which is my flash drive on my laptop, is way the heck down here. So you can certainly scroll away if you want, or to make it easier, you can collapse your file structure of your C drive simply by clicking the down arrow once. It turns it into an up arrow, and it collapses the file structure of your C drive, which is the hard drive inside your laptop or tablet. And there's my D drive. So I'm going to touch it or click on it and select it. And you can see I've got some folders on this flash drive. I've got a designs folder, and that's the designs that come with Pro Stitcher. But I also have some customer folders here, and this is where we get into the naming convention. For those of you that quilt for others professionally in some fashion, whether you're professionally long arming or doing quilts of valor, charity quilts, I recommend you just create separate folders on your work flash drive and just make it simple for yourself. Use your customer's last name. Um, don't have to make it hard. And this was for this customer. So I'm going to select this folder. I know it's selected because it's green. Anything in Pro Stitcher that's green is either on or active. So my D drive is selected and this folder on my D drive is selected. And I know that because look, here's my file path. Tells me this is where I am on my flash drive. So center design. I could leave it there and I could leave the name like that and just save it, or I can use a better naming convention. And this is what I would do. And this is what I use for naming conventions when I'm quilting for others. I use this specific naming convention. I use year, month, day, customer's last name, name of the design. Why do I do that? I'm going to save it. And if I go back, file, design, open, and there it is. So if you ever forget where you save something, this is the way to find it easily. Just if you saved a design, go to File, Design, and in the drop-down box, you will see the last 10 designs that you saved, newest on top. If you saved a workspace, go to File, Workspace, and the drop-down box will show you your last 10 workspaces that you either saved or opened in chronological order, newest on top. So that's the easy way to find, something that you accidentally saved where you don't know where you saved it. So that's the easy way to find it. So let's talk about the naming convention here. So here's my naming convention. Why do I do it this way? Here's why. You're going to have a customer come to you 2 or 3 years down the road, and you're going to ask them, what design do you want on this quilt? And they're going to say to you, well, you used that really pretty center design, a couple of years ago on my quilt. I want that design. And you think, I have no idea what that is. I've quilted 200 quilts since then. So you can go to your customers folder and you can say, okay, 2 years ago was this, and it was called, and this is my customer, and it was called Center Design. And you can find it very easily if you use this naming convention. And it will make more sense when I have a workspace up. So let's clear that and let's go back and we're going to open that workspace file that we couldn't find. This was it. Okay, and I'm going to get this centered so you can see it. And then I'm going to baseline it because remember, anytime we reopen a Save Designer workspace, we must then immediately baseline it before we do anything with it. So if you're intending on picking up where you left off stitching and you're going to reposition the design to what you've quilted on the quilt top and set a new start point, you always must baseline first before you do anything else. So we've got this now, and again, the way to save it is File. Now I would save the workspace if I wanted to save the area, and you can see I've got an area and a design. So doesn't make any difference over here what's selected. I just know this is everything that's on my workspace. So if I go to File, Workspace, or if I go to File, Save Workspace, it will save everything that's on my workspace, all designs and an area if I have an area. And again, I would go intentionally, and this is where I was last. So this is where Pro Stitcher says, oh, maybe this is where she wants to resave it. And again, here's my naming convention. Year, month, day, customer's last name, name of the design. So that way, when my customer talks to me 3 years down the road and says, hey, I really like that leaf design that you used on my quilt from like 3 years ago, I can easily find it. So I know it's Patty Sliney. I know it was 3 years ago, and it had a leaf design, apple leaves. So it's probably that one. And I would pull it up and confirm with them and say, this design? And they'd say, yeah. And it makes you look really smart. And it makes it really easy. So why do we want to save to our flash drive instead of our tablet's hard drive? That's the last piece here. If you're saving all your work to your tablet's hard drive, if you ever down the road decide to sell your system, you've now got to go through your tablet and delete all those saved designs in workspace off the tablet because they're not yours to resell. So you don't want to be giving away designs that you paid for and that you agreed with the digitizer never to resell. That's part of your purchasing agreement. Anytime you purchase from a commercial digitizer, you are purchasing the right to use the design, not the design itself. So you do not have the right to resell it to somebody when you sell your Pro Stitcher system or your long arming system to somebody. So you've got to go through and delete all those off your tablet. Now that's a big pain. So it's just a lot easier if you save everything to a flash drive. And then you can take that flash drive, plug it into your laptop, and transfer all those designs and workspaces to your customers folder on your laptop for safekeeping. Use the same naming convention, and that way it's sort of same. You're doing the same thing on your tablet as you're doing on your laptop, and I'm sure all of you have a regular backup program set up on your laptop. That way you'll never, if you have a hard drive crash, you'll never lose everything. You've got it all backed up on your laptop. You do not have that protection on a tablet. So God forbid you had a hard drive crash on your tablet, which can happen. It's it's a tablet. It's a computer. It can suffer a hard drive crash. You would lose everything, all of your customers' work. So you're not backing anything up on your tablet, but certainly I'm assuming, especially those of you who are professional long armors, you have a backup system set, whether you're using OneDrive or you're using Windows Backup and you're backing up to an external hard drive, or you're using a secure cloud backup service. I happen to use that. Um, and there's many out there. I use Carbonite. You don't have to use Carbonite. You can use whatever you want, but you should be backing up your laptop's hard drive on a regular basis just to protect your files, not just your long arm files, all your files, your photos, your documents, your videos, all of your precious files should be backed up on a regular basis. So those are all the reasons that I would teach and give you all, and I hope this is helpful. So give this a try on your laptop in simulation. Practice this so you know how to easily collapse that C drive and find your D drive and save to your flash drive. So happy quilting.